Hello everyone, my name is Abhishek and welcome back to my channel. So a lot of people have been asking, Abhishek, as a DevOps engineer, how do I learn AI? In today's video, I will share my personal experience. As a DevOps engineer, how did I learn AI? What resources did I follow? What practical hands-on did I do? So that eventually I started freelancing in the space of AI DevOps. This is going to be a step-by-step guide. I will share all the resources that I followed and resources that personally helped me. After watching the video, you can find the links in the description so that you can just bookmark those links. But let me give you a simple disclaimer. You know, most of the resources that I'm going to share here are going to be free, but most of them are going to be reading based content. Because personally, I enjoy reading more than watching from the videos, learning from the videos. I like reading, I like practicing the content. So I'm going to share the same resources with you all. Perfect. Let's get started. So basically, I personally started with understanding large language models because when you want to do something like, let's say you want to upskill in the space of AI, you need to know the fundamentals, not as detailed as understanding how to develop the large language models or how to create the large language models, but at least you need to understand the terminology. What are large language models? What are tokens? How do you effectively use the tokens? How are tokens calculated? You can find all that information in this document shared by Google. Now, this resource was created very long back ago, but they have been constantly updating it. So, if you want to understand large language models, this is the best resource that you can find. And the best thing is that this is something that you can complete in 1 to 2 hours. This is just a crash course. Now, you can start with what are large language models. Then you can understand the internals of the large language model. Like if you scroll down, you can see here what is a decoder, what is an encoder, what is LLM hallucination, parameters, tokens, everything. Perfect. So you can start with this document. Let's say you don't want to go into the details. Abhishek, I just want to understand how to use AI. Then you can skip this document. Just start with prompt engineering. Now, this is something that you cannot skip because end of the day, in today's world, every organization is bothered about tokens. If you know how to effectively use the tokens, then you can save a lot of money for your organization, even for your personal usage. So you need to understand prompt engineering, how to get required output from AI and effectively using minimal token consumption. This is what is taught in this document. Now, this is by OpenAI. In this document, you will find what is prompt engineering, how to effectively write the prompts, how to choose a model. They have given multiple examples like GPT 5.5, 5.6. So this is also updated. And then you can see different types of promptings. What is one shot prompting? What is chain of thoughts? You can find all that information with example prompts. So if you just have an API key, OpenAI API key, in fact, you can practice them as well. So this is the second thing that I followed. Once I understood basics of large language models and the fundamentals of prompt engineering, then the next important thing to understand how to make API calls to the large language models. I mean the frontier models like OpenAI models, Anthropic models, because end of the day, this is what you do in your organization. You make API calls to the models. Let's say you're working on an e-commerce platform, and let's say you're developing a chat assistant. When user asks a question, you want to send that question to the large language model. Now, how do you do that? So you need to know how to make API calls to the frontier models. This is best explained in this OpenAI document. Actually, this is not a document. This is kind of a website. So right from basics, how do you install OpenAI SDK? Then how do you write a simple API call to the 5.6 model? So they are updating it. Previously, it used to be 5.4, 5.5. So this is up to you. Like, let's say you want to use less number of tokens, you can go with the previous model as well, right? And similarly, how do you upload the files? You can also see that. Like, let's say you want to upload a file and you want OpenAI model to process your file. You can also learn that here. So, how to make API calls to the models. You can find the similar thing in Anthropic as well. Let's say you don't want to know about OpenAI SDK, you don't want to make API calls to the OpenAI frontier models, but you want to use Anthropic frontier models. Same document you can find using Anthropic as well. But when I learned back then, OpenAI documents used to be very popular. Okay, now the next thing that you want to know is how to run the models locally. Okay, till now you learned how to make API calls to the frontier models, but then you also want to understand how to run the models locally, especially the open models like the Coder model, GPT OSS model, Llama model, and you want to use them maybe with your OpenClaw or maybe with your open router, anything or open code. So for that you need to learn Olama. Olama is actually very simple. Like you can just learn it in 10 minutes, not even more than that. Especially if you're coming from DevOps background, you already know how to use Docker. It is very, very similar. In fact, the commands of Olama are also inspired by Docker. So you'll find similar commands. Docker run, similarly Olama run. Docker pull, Olama pull. Same commands. Perfect. So you need to know how to use Olama. Just go to the documentation, see how to install it, go to the CLI reference document, you will know how to install it, and you can start pulling some basic models. After that, okay, now till now, especially from my learning point of view, once I understood prompt engineering, once I understood how to make API calls, how to use models locally, then one of the biggest challenges was to understand RAG. Of course, I followed a lot of tutorials. Most of those tutorials were explaining RAG at the surface level, the retrieval augmented generation, because I wanted to make use of internal documentation with the AI agents. So I was finding it difficult. But if you go to Oracle AI Developer Hub, this is a free resource. And if you scroll down, you have real-time examples. So without actually working on the RAG real-time system, I mean RAG production system, you can actually learn RAG. Just go to the view app here. So this will show the documentation. You have a real application, an agentic RAG application with architecture. Then they also provided steps using Oracle DB, the free DB, how you can set up the RAG resource, how does it work in real time, how does it fetch the information in real time, how to set up embeddings, how to configure vector database. Everything is configured. So I just followed this. This took more time for me because I was not using RAG before that. But once I understood, then production RAG became very easy for me. In fact, if you go to our YouTube channel, then I created resources on RAG as well. How to set up RAG, how to set up RAG with security, all that videos are available on the channel. But this is the core resource that I followed. Also, to understand RAG better, I went through this MongoDB University. You can find the link in the description. The best part of it, it comes with a hands-on lab as well. Like if you go to this learn.mongodb.com, you have a lot of examples here. They have provided the lab environment with all the setup that you need. Just go to one of these things, click on that, start reading it. Parallelly, you get a virtual machine. On the virtual machine, you can in fact practice what you have learned, right? So this helped me further with RAG, vector databases and embeddings. Like if you want to understand vector search and all, this is a very useful resource. Then model context protocol. Today you have a lot of resources on MCP, but when I started learning, there were very minimal resources. I was initially not very clear on the difference between API and MCP. Like, why do I have to go with MCP when there is already API? Like, I can use OpenAI SDK, I can use Anthropic SDK. Why do I have to use something called model context protocol? But this documentation helped me a lot. So this helped me understanding what is MCP, how is it different from APIs, how to set up your own MCP server, MCP client, and what advantages do you get, like especially from the protocol point of view. So this is a document from modelcontextprotocol.io. Again, you can find this link in the description. So RAG is done, MCP is done. What is left? Building AI agents. How do you build AI agents? The open source and free tools that are available. or LangChain and LangGraph. So for LangChain and LangGraph, honestly, the documentation is very boring. So if you go to the official documentation, you will find it very boring. You will find it difficult to understand. But these resources help me. So for LangChain, Krishna created a complete playlist. It was very easy to follow. He also had a Udemy course on LangChain, but I followed some of these YouTube tutorials along with the official documentation. Then things became much easier for me. Similarly, LangGraph as well. He also has a LangGraph course, so you can also follow that. It's available for free on YouTube. And then, once I covered all of these things, then pretty much the fundamentals of AI are done. Then I learned about Kubeflow, then I learned about KubeServe, AWS SageMaker, and things like Microsoft Foundry. All of them became very, very easy for me. So these fundamentals are important. Even if you want to become AI DevOps engineer, or if you want to upskill in the space of AI, just follow these tutorials, right? Of course, you can follow any tutorials that you want, but I am telling from my personal experience, these are the things that I followed. Once again, I'll quickly repeat this. First, large language models, understanding the basics of large language models from the developers.google.com. Prompt engineering from OpenAI developers documentation, where I learned about different prompt engineering techniques, including chain of thoughts, single shot prompting, one shot prompting, etc. Then how to use frontier models using API calls. Again, OpenAI documentation on their OpenAI SDK helped me a lot. Then Olama to run the models locally. I followed the Olama documentation. When it comes to RAG, vector databases, and embeddings, vector search, two resources that help me. One is Oracle AI Developer Hub, where they have real-time projects, and MongoDB University. Along with real-time projects, they also have this thing, like what do you call it? Hands-on practical labs. You can get a virtual machine and you can practice. Model Context Protocol, I learned from mcp.io or Model Context Protocol.io. Finally, LangChain, LangGraph from Chris Nayak free YouTube courses. This is the order. After that, yeah, you can build on top of it. You can learn Microsoft Foundry, AWS Bedrock, Kserve, Kubeflow, anything. All those becomes very easy for you. If you still have any questions, do let me know in the comment section. Or if you want to understand anything more like about a specific resource, also let me know in the comment section. I'm more than happy to help. One update, we are also creating everything that I explained here. We are creating the same thing on Escape Bash platform, the platform that we are creating, where you will find hands-on practical labs with Claude installed. So you can also learn once that platform is out. Right now, the platform is not out. Cool. Thank you so much for watching today's video. See you all in the next one. Take care.